All right, so we also have to talk about the other JJK zero unit, that being Suguru Geto. Now, this is definitely a character that I now wish I had. I don't know if I'm gonna do polls because I am like stockpiling gems just for no apparent reason. But let's go ahead and check them out. So nothing has changed with the Black Flash. However, skill 1, the Playful Cloud, before it just dealt Taijutsu damage. Now it's going to increase his own critical rate by 5%. The higher his own curse energy is, the greater the critical rate boost, up to 65% at maxed cursed energy. That's fucking crazy. He's going to be dealing a lot of taijutsu damage, as you can see there. And then depending on how much his own curse energy has, that should still be... Nope, okay. It's going to increase his taijutsu damage up to 60%. And then he's going to increase his own jujutsu damage by 15% for 3 turns if his cursed energy is 60 or above. Holy cow. So that's a lot to take in. So we're looking at a possible increase of 65% the critical rate boost increase for himself. That's massive. While also having a possibility at level 10 having an increase up to 240% taijutsu damage, while also adding 15% jujutsu damage. It's okay. It's very, very good considering how skill 1 does not require any cursed energy. This is honestly like massive for Geto. Jumping over to skill 2, obviously it is the curse manipulation. It previously dealt ranged jujutsu damage, and then if it was 30 or above the cursed energy, it decreased the enemy's taijutsu damage by 28.6% at level 5. Level 10, that was up to 33.1. And then if your own cursed energy was 40 or above, it increased the selected enemy's jujutsu damage received by a decent amount. We got like a thesis here. So you're still doing a large amount of ranged jujutsu damage to a selected enemy. It's going to then decrease the selected enemy's jujutsu or taijutsu damage by 28%. Is that higher than... Okay, so that's just flat. You don't have the restriction anymore that you did previously, so that's a huge win. And then depending on how much his own cursed energy has when it's activated, it's going to increase the damage, or increases damage decreased. Or wait, what? I'm confused here. Increases damage decreased up by 35 damage. I'm going to say damage received for the enemy, because this is the wording that is just messed up. So I'm going to assume it's damage received by 35%, and then it's going to increase the selected enemy's jujutsu damage received by 25% for 3 turns. That is a little down, but depending on how much curse energy you have, increases damage received up to 50%. Massive. So these two definitely play into one another, which is very, very good. Okay, so skill 3 was the ranged jujutsu damage to all enemies, and then the greater your curse energy was, the greater damage it dealt. Didn't give us a specific number, but you know, that is what it is. Now it's going to increase your own damage by 10% for 1 turn, which is huge. And then depending on how much curse energy you have, obviously it's going to increase it up to 100%, capping out at 60. That's huge. On top of that, you know, it's still doing the ranged jujutsu damage to all enemies. Then it's going to increase all enemies damage received by 10% for 3 turns, stacking all the way up to 30%, you know, depending on how much curse energy you have. And then the max increase at 60 curse energy, minimum of 18.4, increase at 25%. Okay, so we're not worried about that. The fact that you are going to be able to increase your own damage by 10% and then increase all enemies damage received by 10%, being able to both be inflicted on the enemy is just, it's stupid. It really is. And the fact that you are going to be, you know, doing that to all enemies right here, that's huge. He's a very, very, very good debuffer now. Now the ultimate, obviously you'd be doing a ton of jujutsu damage to the enemy, and then, you know, depending on how high your curse energy is, it's the greater the damage boost, and then reduces zone curse energy to 0 when it's performed. Makes sense. Now, it's going to increase own damage by 20%, up to 200% at 60 cursed energy. That is stupid. That's a huge jump just at level 5. It previously did 257%. Now 550 increases own Jujutsu damage by 30%. It cannot be stacked. Okay, that's makes it fair. And then, you know, he reduces his cursed energy when it's performed. It makes sense, but this is massive. GETO now is like a very, 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 very good debuffer to enemy units. I really liked what they did with both JJK0 collab units. They are both very strong. In terms of who I think is better, honestly, probably GETO now. Like, he's really good. I'm super surprised how good he is. But yeah, no, I'm super glad with what they did with both of the units.